See, still in Omaha, still messing up. I am live. We are live here, still in Omaha. National title winner, LSU Tigers. Jay Johnson wins his second national title in 3 years. We'll break down the series. I know that we did not do the post games after the show, after the games. I do greatly apologize for that, but we were at the games. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely just bucket list type of stuff from us. Now, I need to make sure that you guys can hear me because this is a little bit kind of put together. I don't know if you guys are even able to hear me. Thumbs up in the chat if you can hear us, by the way. Thumbs up in the chat if you can hear us. Let me make sure that y'all can. I think that y'all can. Yeah, y'all can. All right, we're good. We're good to go. But LSU takes down Coastal Carolina in games 1 and games 2. We'll break all that down. We'll talk to you. We'll talk about it. We'll take all of your comments, questions, thoughts, concerns. If you want your comments read, you know what to do. It's a post-game show, so put in the super chats, and we will read all of them. Let me start off by saying this, a couple of things. Number one, to all of those that we met here, absolutely fantastic. It was a very humbling experience for me. Thank you to all of you who stopped, talked to us or talked to me, said that you love the show, said that you watch all the time. It makes me feel very good to know that we are doing something very special and good. To be here was special for myself. This is a bucket list type of situation. As most of you know, we do post games for baseball throughout the entire season, midweek games, games during the weekend, Saturdays, Fridays, sometimes Sundays. So to be here and to see all of you that are Tiger fans that love the show, stopped, you talked, you got a picture with us, I greatly appreciate it. It very much is a humbling experience for me. And this was a great time. It is not easy leaving your family and children, but I would have not taken this back for anything in the world. This was the best experience for me. Shout out to all of those that helped us in getting here. Shout out to all of those who did a lot of great things for me in being here, taking the time to talk to us, buying us waters, buying us stuff. Thank you so much. I am very, very humbled in all of this process. So, yeah, thank you so much. We are here. Let's break down these games. Before we do that, you know what it is. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Do us a favor and rate, review, and subscribe. Before we do that, let's talk about a couple of sponsors here. With our good friends over at betonline.ag, guys, you can use that promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50. You'll receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. And our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media, who are big parts of us during this entire baseball run. Shout out to Lee. Shout out to Justin for being a very big part in everything that we do. Go over to Service Hawk Digital Media, where you'll be able to get the right leads, smart systems, and real growth. Get a marketing system that works for you today by going over to servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io today to be able to get those right leads, smart systems with real growth. If you're an HVAC, generator pros, if you're electrical pros, whatever your business is, the number one team in the North Shore and Greater Baton Rouge area is our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media right there in downtown Hammond, Louisiana. So reach out to them. Go over to servicehawk.io today. And our good friends Sheridan and Ryan over at Red Stick Financial. Guys, with mortgage rates coming down, give them a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Go see them over at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com today for your chance to lower your interest rates, be able, if you're looking for a new home, be able to purchase that new home by being able to go to the best team in the Greater Baton Rouge area. They're licensed in the state of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. So if you are in those areas, get to the best team over at Red Stick Financial today. All right, let's get to it here. I did see a comment in here I do want to address. Tariq says, I know Blake got effed up after the game last night. I can neither confirm nor deny any involvement in drinking activities. last night? 0. No, we were good. We were good. We were absolutely okay. I still think a lot of Tiger fans are heading out tomorrow, but no, we were good. We did a lot. We saw a lot of people. It was fun. All right, let's recap both of these games. Let's start off with game 1, and then we'll get to game 2 in the national title and kind of break this down. This is not going to be more of like your traditional show. We will go through both of them, and then we'll just talk to you a lot. We'll take the comments, thoughts, questions, concerns, and all of that stuff in there as well. Look, there are a couple of things in game 1 for me, not breaking down every single inning like we normally do. I think you got to, number one, start off with Cade Anderson, right? Like I think that Cade Anderson, the legendary performance that he had, not only in game 1 to somewhat seal the deal, I felt like, against Coastal Carolina, but what he did in Omaha in general, what he was able to do against Arkansas, what he was able to do against Coastal in game 1. Guys, he allowed a run. He allowed 1 run his entire time in Omaha, and that is why he was the MVP of the tournament. He deserved to be the MVP of the tournament. Everything that he did, guys, he might go 1-1. Like when the draft is in a couple of weeks, there's a very good chance that the first name that's read off on that card is Cade Anderson to the Washington Nationals, and he deserves it. He worked out of jams. He would get guys on. He would force ground balls to the pull side, especially from right-handed hitters, and that was able to force guys like Michael Brazwell, who we'll talk about for game 1 and game 2, and you were able to get out of innings that, quite honestly, I thought were kind of a little bit like, uh-oh, man, we're in a little bit of trouble here. But he worked out of every single one of those innings. I think that the 3rd inning, he had 2 runners on first and second. He was able to get a strikeout, and then Luis Hernandez with a massive play, getting the ball down to Brazwell. Brazzy staying with the tag, getting out of that one, getting out of the 4th inning where he gave up a leadoff double down the line, and he was able to get a pair of strikeouts there, and then was able to maneuver throughout that. And through the 4th inning was absolute nails. They couldn't see him. He was locked in. Jay Johnson said in the postgame that, Cade came up to him, I think, in the 3rd or 4th inning and looked at Jay and says, listen, I'm about to lock in. And from probably the 4th inning, I would say, until the 9th, until it was all over, I don't know, outside of maybe Paul Skeens or outside of some of the elite guys that we've seen at LSU, that for me, that I've seen in person a more dominating performance. Now, you could go to Paul Skeens against Wake Forest in the same town in Omaha that we're currently in and say to yourself, look, he had an absolutely fantastic run in his own right, because Paul did. But the bottom line is that was one of the more elite performances. But from the 4th inning on, and all the way from the 4th inning to the end of the game when he locked it out and closed it out, the thing that kept going through my mind is that he's locating now. He's figured out what the umpire's zone is, and they're just not seeing him. So for game 1, what will go down is probably one of, if not the biggest legacy in this entire season, in this outright season. I think that Cade Anderson, when you've had Cade and Anthony Ianson, Cade has been your superstar because, guys, he's not flashy. He doesn't throw 101. He's not, he doesn't pop. Nothing like pops off the radar like, oh, man, Chase Shores is in. He's throwing at 101. But he is I think we can make the argument that Cade might have been the best player in the country this year. He might be the best in the country this year, and I don't think that is a microcosm of or really even a slight at anybody to say that. He was that special in everything that he did. Let's go to the hitting side of things before getting into the 4th and go from there as well. And I want to pull this up. I forgot to pull up my notes here because of course I didn't. But so we talked about Cade Anderson kind of working out of some jams there in game 1. I thought that even going into that 1st inning when Derek Curiel got into a situation where he started the count off at 0-2 and then worked a walk and then was able to get on to second. The play there, so the beginning of the game and the bottom of the first, which was the only run in game one, Derek Curiel gets a walk on the 0-2 count that he gets full and then walks. But then Ethan Fry hits a ball to the shortstop, in which I thought that they could have turned two in that situation. Guys, it is crazy to me the amount of pressure that I felt like when you go back to Arkansas and when you go into the Coastal Carolina game and some of the runs scored, like you think of the Aloy play from Arkansas, and he throws the ball to third, and then the next at bat is the Luis Hernandez line drive in the left field, Davalon misses it, whatever. The amount of pressure that LSU puts on teams because they feel that they got to do everything humanly right, and then LSU attacking and being able to capitalize off of other teams' mistakes, especially in that game one. Ethan Fry hits into what was probably a tailor-made double play ball, and I thought Curiel should have been out at second. Now, Curiel is, he's busting it down to second base. He's busting his rear end to get there, but I thought they could have got him at second. And now Ethan runs really good, and you never know if they can turn two. But the problem here is that Stephen Milam, or problem for Coastal, and the great thing for LSU, and the only run of the game comes on Curiel getting into second, and then Stephen Milam getting and having the base hit right back up the middle that scores Derek. Guys, offensively after that, you did not do anything. With second inning, third inning, fourth inning, you were really put in check. And you got to give Cameron Fluke, who was the starter for Coastal Carolina, a lot of credit. I thought that his stuff was borderline in moments and some innings elite. He had 6 innings pitched, but he had 9 strikeouts in those 6 innings. Like, he was very efficient. We were not seeing him well at all. Looked like Jake Brown struck out twice. Jared Jones struck out twice. Danny Dickinson struck out twice. I mean, everybody besides Stephen Milam in your lineup struck out from what was a very elite pitching staff from Coastal Carolina. Now, we'll talk about game 2, and I know that the whole talk will be about Jacob Morrison and getting to him and all that kind of stuff. But like we said going into this series before we left to come out to Omaha, I think that a lot of people saw the Coastal Carolina logo and thought to themselves, oh, man, we're going to beat the shit out of them, which we did. And which we did beat them. I don't know if you say you beat the shit out of them, but look, man, we're going to be able to really just get to them. Guys, their pitching staff by far was one of the best that we had seen all year. I don't think it's better than Arkansas's. I don't even really think from top to bottom it's as talented as maybe some of the others that you saw in the SEC. But one thing is for sure, I feel very confident that was the second best staff that you saw all season in Coastal Carolina, without a doubt. And Fluke in game 1 really mowed you down. I mean, look, Jared Jones wasn't seeing it well in game 1, and that's okay. You're going against an elite dude, Jake Brown. I mean, regardless of how you want to slice and dice it, whatever. Because in that game, you only had 6 hits. Stephen Milam had 2 of them. And the one off the wall, the one right back up the middle, Monster Milam was definitely seeing him. Because you look at all of the part, other than the part half of the lineup, like Derek Curiel got a hit, Jake Brown did get a hit, Stephen Milam got 2. But guys, the bottom half of your order didn't get anything, and they really liked you down. Now, you go into the second part of that you go into the 7th inning, they bring in Dom Carbone, who was one of their best relievers and was one of the best relievers of the year. He gave up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, did strike you out twice. So game 1, man, you just really couldn't see it offensively. And it is what it is, man. You're in a national title game with guys that are going to hear their name called next week. Like next week, those guys for Coastal, a lot of those guys are going to play in the next level, and some of them could even push it to a very high level. I think Morrison, even though that you got to him yesterday, and Fluke, they're going to play at a high level. So, look, we were talking about Cade Anderson going into the 4th, but I just want to talk about, look, the only offensive things that you did well in my humble opinion, was in the first inning. And that came off of that double play not being turned, or Jared Curiel not getting out at second in the first inning, and Stephen Milan coming through big. Now, I don't think you lose the game without it. I still think that you find a way to win that game because you have Cade Anderson and they don't. But there also just comes a point in time for me when I look at this and say, listen, you put a lot of pressure. You put so much pressure on every team, whether it be Arkansas, whether it be Coastal. And for me, your logo put so much pressure on them that they made mistakes, like Coastal making a mistake in the first inning, Arkansas making mistakes in the ninth inning. The pressure got to them, and you acted like you as a team, and LSU acted like you had been there before because, number one, you have a head coach who we're going to talk about a lot here today too that's been there. Because think about this. Chase Shores has his second national title ring. Josh Pearson has his second national title ring. Bear Jones has his second national title ring. So far and so on, that you knew what you needed to do. But outside of that first inning, man, you offensively, you couldn't get anything going. Let's continue on through the fifth in game one. So, look, Cade Anderson continued to be elite, went the 9 innings. Look, he only gave up 3 hits. He did give up 5 walks. He did have some guys that he hit. I think he hit Caden Bodine twice, if memory serves me correctly. But after the fourth, man, I mean, let's go through here. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Strikeout, ground balls, strikeouts. I mean, it is just probably one of the most elite performances that you've seen. Caden Bodine is probably one of the best hitters in the country. He didn't get a hit. Sebastian Alexander had I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that had the double. But Barthol, who's got some power, didn't get a hit. Pato did get one, but he struck out 3 times. So the middle part of their lineup that you were able to get to just absolutely was able to lock down and get after. But after the 5th inning, he was absolutely fantastic in every single thing that he did. Let's go through one more thing here in the 5th. Look, I thought in the beginning part of the 5th inning, there were some times and moments that Cade Anderson, I felt like was working from behind, right? Meaning there was a situation where every single time I felt like he kept getting down in the count, but was able to bounce back. It did get his pitch count up. I felt like for the first couple of innings, he did get squeezed a little bit, right? Like I felt as if that he got squeezed a lot in a lot of certain situations. But after the 5th, after that inning, he's working from ahead in the count. A lot of 0-2 counts. So I went and marked this down after the 6th inning. Guys, in most of an 80% of the hitters that he saw after the 5th inning, he's working from ahead. And I think that was the biggest thing, to get that pitch count down in reference to being able to get to a place where he can maintain and be able to finish the game. But at the same instance, being able to get out ahead and get these hitters off of what they do best, getting on, getting over, and getting in. And he was able to lock in and do that. So absolutely special stuff from Cade Anderson going into that one. A couple other things I would just say about game one, and we'll get to some thoughts, questions, concerns here, is our good friend Lee from Service Hawk Digital Media sends us some stars via Facebook. Good day, good sir. How are you? Good to see you in here. Just absolutely fantastic stuff, man. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Like, I'm just sitting here going through the 6th inning on 6, 7, 8, 9. Those innings were elite for Cade Anderson. 6 strikeouts in those innings. So 6 Ks in 4 innings to end it. 130 pitches. I mean, just absolutely elite stuff. So let's talk on him to kind of wrap this up. Lee, good to see you. By the way, go over to Service Hawk Digital Media, servicehawk.io. This one will live in Tiger history allure, man. I mean, it's just – look, Cade Anderson has said a lot of times throughout the season, he said a lot of times throughout his career that the only thing that he ever wanted to do was to put on the purple and gold and play for LSU. And it meant something to him. And going into the game after the third, fourth inning, whatever inning it was, and he told Jay, like, I'm going to lock in. And he did. And he shut that lineup out. I mean, guys, he won the MVP, but it's why you won a national title. Taking that game one for me in this whole situation was probably the biggest thing, because I didn't know if you could win this series without taking game one. I really didn't. And he was just elite. I mean, legends have moments, but he will forever be cemented in the legacy book of what he did in game one. Offensively, I look, it's past tense now. You know, I think if we were doing a live post game, we probably would have said, like, listen, it's great that you won and you got to win national titles in a lot of different ways, which you did. But I think there's something to be said about how this team was built. And I think that game one was a microcosm, a complete microcosm of what this team was. You know, from LSU's perspective, we are used to seeing teams win national titles and winning SEC championships and going to the tournament and winning it all. And it doesn't look like that. You know, the last time that you shut out a team in the postseason, it was 1-0 that you won per Politz on Twitter was in 1975. So even before Skip's time, you had never shut somebody out and only won 1-0 in the postseason. This team was built different. And listen, I say though, I would say this, like, defense wins championships kind of mantra in football, but great pitching and elite defenses win national championships. Guys, it won you game one. It certainly did in game one with Michael Brazwell. Now, listen, there were a couple of people. I know we had this conversation about Brazwell going into the series, but guys, as we said before we left to come here to Omaha, I didn't know what Jay would do, and nor did I pretend to act like I knew what he would do. I am very glad that he gets paid the big bucks and will probably get that contract extension, and that he played and started Michael Brazwell at third. There are a couple of plays that Brazzy made in game one that kind of comes around full circle, that everybody's putting so much pressure on him because he's not hitting. That, guys, the bunt that he was able to get out and the needle that he threaded, I guess you should say, getting the out. The play that he made at third, and I know that we tweeted it, when he's going to his left and he's at a far range of range and he's able to make a great strike to Bear Jones and he's able to get the out. Because with a team like this who's not going to – I know they hit 2 home runs on you yesterday, but it wasn't going to leave the park and wanted to play small ball, having someone at the hot corner, having someone that could be there and be elite at the hot corner. Guys, Michael Brazwell's play at third was elite for you. And look, I think Jay said it best clearly when he was talking about this, and he was talking about when they were going through their lineups – and they had a conversation on Michael Brazwell. He told his team that, look, I'm not even having the conversation. He's starting at third. We're used to it in Baton Rouge for it looking at a certain way. And it's just not what it was in 2023. But you did it in your own way, and you're the national title winner. In a down year in the SEC, I might add. You were the winner. You were the champion. Everybody's saying that probably you couldn't hit enough to get there. It didn't matter. Now, again, if we were probably talking about the postgame, if we were back home, we probably would have said that, look, you're going to have to score more than one run probably to beat this team with Jacob Morrison on Saturday. And guess what? You did. You did have to score more than one run. Will your offense show up in game two, which they did? So game one, Cade Anderson, absolutely legendary. Legendary status, man. One of the best to ever do it. All right. couple comments before we get to and talking about game 2. Black Connection says pitching and defense, baby, wins you championships. I mean, it does. Guys, you didn't hit a home run in the College World Series final. You didn't hit a home run. You didn't do some of the things that maybe that we were accustomed from these teams doing, right? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Alexander Taylor says, I think Chase Shores can be a weekend starter next year, not Friday, but they can try that again. Here's the thing, Alexander. There's no way humanly possible that I think that none that I think that Cade Anderson's coming back. I just don't see a world where – Cade Anderson. Chase Shores, I don't think Chase Shores comes back. There's no way that I see Chase Shores coming back. Our good friend who was in Omaha with us, Stephen Fry and the gang out there from 337, Charlie, Trent and the gang. What's up? He sends us some trophies. Absolutely. Yes, Stephen and them were here. I was glad to hang out with them. DA says Luis Hernandez is my LSU player of the year, just my opinion. Luis had a great year, man. He had an absolutely fantastically great year. Look, Papi! The play that he made, speaking of game 1, when they tried to steal third, I think it was Sebastian Alexander, the left fielder for Coastal, tried to steal third base, and Papi makes a great throw. Guy got a great jump, and Brazzy makes an elite play because he slides past the base. Luis was your anchor, man. He really was. Halfway through the season, I think Luis had he was banged up. He had some injuries. But yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. Chance Babin says, do you see any of the juniors returning? I don't know. As of today, I don't know. We'll start to talk about that. We'll be back tomorrow, so we'll be live from the studio tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Brandon Reese says Jay Johnson was already the best coach in college baseball, but after winning his second title in 3 years, it's not even close now. So, look, I wanted to wait to this until we got to game 2. I guess we could get to game 2, but I did want to talk about this before we got out of here. I'm not gonna stay here too long here tonight, but there's no doubt, question, rhyme, reason that anybody around the country cannot utter the statements that Jay Johnson is the best head coach in college baseball. The last live show that we did before we came to Omaha, we had a discussion about Brandon Walker from Barstool Sports and myself getting into a conversation on social media about him saying that it's Tony Vitello. Guys, Jay Johnson has been to Omaha 4 out of the last 8 years in his coaching career, full seasons. In 2 of those seasons, he's won national titles. 2 of the last 3 seasons, LSU under him has won a national title. I don't care what anybody tells me. Jay Johnson is the best head coach in college baseball. This whole Tony Vitello, I think Tony's a great coach. Trying to compare him right now to what Jay Johnson has been is absolutely incredulous to me. It has got to be one of the dumbest, stupidest takes ever. Like the whole thing about, well, Tony had to build it at Tennessee. Guys, Tennessee's giving him more NIL money than anybody. Well, what about facilities? What about them? Brother, if you're out there paying kids like that, he lost, did Tony, with 3 first-round picks. 3. And you're trying to sit here and tell me that, he didn't have just his talent. He's coming off a national title. All that stuff. And Tony did win one. Jay has been there 4 of the last 8 full seasons to Omaha and won 2 national titles. He's got more than Kevin O'Sullivan. Schlossnagle doesn't have one. And by the way, Schloss not having one, Kevin O'Sullivan has not won one. Now he's gotten to one, but he hasn't gotten to one in the portal NIL era. So when we look at and look, baseball is so much more difficult to win a national title than it is football. I fully am convinced of that. So this whole argument that like Brandon Walker or Barstool Sports or wherever the shit wants to have a conversation about it, it's just flat out wrong. It's flat out wrong. All right. Let's go to game 2. But before we get to that, like I've said, it's not close to me who the best head coach in the country is. And listen, I am in a purple shirt in a hotel room in Omaha, and I spent my own money to come here to watch this team play, and I'm wearing an LSU hat. People are going to think that you're biased, and maybe I am a little bit biased. Maybe I am just completely biased to Jay Johnson, but I don't think that like statistically, and if you're looking at it as a whole, that you as a human being cannot look at the facts. The thing that bothers me the most about, well, Tony built it. Well, Tony built Tennessee. He didn't Nick Saban didn't have to build Alabama. Alabama was Alabama before Nick Saban got there. I mean, like, we're taking everything away from this man in winning 2 national titles in the last 3 years. Absolutely insane. All right. A couple more things. We'll talk about game 2. Was going to probably be about 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes here. Game 2, you went up against Jacob Morrison from Coastal. Arguably one of the best pitchers, was undefeated on the year. I want to start off in the beginning of the game because in the first inning, Kevin Schnall, the head coach of Coastal Carolina, got tossed for arguing balls and strikes. We just got done talking about why Jay Johnson is the best head coach in the country. Do you remember in game 1 when Danny Dickinson got hit in the elbow and they called him out because they said he leaned into the pitch, and Jay Johnson didn't overreact, and the postgame said, I couldn't overreact because my team needs me. My team needs me. I can't overreact. We gotta battle and move on. Kevin Schnall, in his first postseason as a head coach and first World Series as a head coach, because it's just his first year, did not make that determination, did not do that. He overreacted to balls and strikes, and I understand a couple of them were bad, but you got to learn how to have composure. You got to have composure in these situations. He didn't. It backfired massively on him, and he got kicked out. I was telling Chris Phillips, I forget who else I was telling, like, when he got kicked out of the first inning, for me, I knew it was over. And you got to have composure. Now, the umpire falling down and suspending him multiple games, guys, the umpire was unathletic and fell down. I think we could all be a little bit real here. Okay, he got thrown out. He cost his team. Pressure got to him. It is what it is. But, man, I mean, it was from there on. Look, the second time through the lineup with Jacob Morrison in game 2 is where you got to him. You had the big 4-run inning in the 4th. The bottom of your lineup, man. The bottom of your lineup. You're getting guys on. You're getting a couple of base hits. They give you a really big boost when they make a little bit of an error in the field. Ethan Fry hits a ball in the left field that was scorched. They can't make a play on it. I mean, ball was absolutely tattooed 115 miles an hour off the bat, and they can't make a play. And you get bases loaded, no outs, and the guy who has been a cornerstone of your team all year, Chris Stanfield, comes up and delivers. Fantastic, man. You were built from top to bottom, from the 1 hole to the 9 hole. You were always dangerous. Chris Stanfield blew the game wide open for what it was worth that they couldn't overcome. He gets the hit there, and then Derek Curiel, after a bunt by Danny Dickinson, was able to get the base hit to what really, guys, was the dagger. They couldn't overcome it. They could not get 5 runs on you. They were not going to be able to tie it there. It's crazy what having the right approach will do. And Jacob Morrison's a great pitcher. He is a great, great pitcher. Guys, you did exactly what you needed to do against an elite guy, and you had Anthony Ianson on the mound, who was absolutely fantastic. Anthony did give up a couple of home runs. I guess it doesn't really matter now, but he dealt. I mean, got into the 6th inning and did some really special stuff. Got a lot of strikeouts on off-speed stuff and was absolutely fantastic. So great from Ant. And then Chase Shores, man. I don't think Chase Shores is coming back for what it's worth. I don't think he should for what it's worth. But he came in and he dealt, dog. He absolutely dealt. If I would have told you going into the College World Series final that you would use 3 pitchers, all that borderline could probably does have the talent to be in the first round, you'd call me crazy. But as Jay said, how can you look at what LSU's doing on the mound and not want to be here? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, yeah. All right. I got some things I need to do here. I just want to do a quick live show before we got back home. Do us a favor, hit the like and share. Thank you all who gave us the opportunity to do this. We'll see y'all tomorrow when we get home. Y'all have a good one. Peace.